Today we're going to ask ourselves a question and answer it. Do Magic the Gathering cards become broken if you remove the end of turn part from them? We're going to start off with Toad's Final Fortune. This would just be 2 mana, instant speed, time warp. It's instant. Take another turn after this one. But you don't lose the game because, you know what? There is no end of turn. Now, remember, this is a show where there's going to be no end of turn to trigger anything, but there's still going to be a cleanup step, so just don't assume that, damage is going to stay on creatures for forever. All right, next up, let's take a look at Hedgeman with Silence. How does this work? Silence. Would that keep people, quiet for an eternity? Ugh, too many cards called Silence. There we go. Okay, pay a white instant. Your opponents can't cast spells this turn. I don't think this does anything. I don't think it'll do anything more or less than it did before. It's not like, it doesn't say until end of turn, so that doesn't even work for the show. Benovsky, Staying Power. Silver border card. Come on, people. Come on, let's get back on the track here. Orim's Chant. So we're looking at cards that would say until end of turn, but then we're going to try to look at those cards as if, okay, is this card better if there was no end of turn? Like Giant Growth. So imagine the creature perpetually, I guess does not perpetually. I guess we have to remove the cleanup step. Okay, there's going to be no, we can still have a cleanup step. Okay, target player can't cast spells this turn. If the spell is kicked, creatures can't attack this turn. It doesn't change anything. Yeah, I'm wondering, do I have to change it for this turn? Does it change that much? Okay, hold on, let's take a look at, we'll try it out for a second. Okay, Kathan with Teferi's Protection. What does this say? Wouldn't this screw you? Okay, pay 3 mana instant until your next turn. Your life total can't change and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. This doesn't work either. Okay, the card has to say until end of turn. That is going to be a hard rule for the show. It is a hard rule. And then we're going to assume that the cleanup step is ignored as well. Just for the sake of argument. We've already gone 4 suggestions through the show and all got disqualified. Kagan with Wellspring. You have to read the Oracle text. I'll believe you. Okay, let's read the ancient scripture. Enchant land. When this aura enters, gain control of enchanted land until end of turn. Thank God. Okay, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, untap enchanted land. You gain control of that land until end of turn. So you're going to perpetually gain control of this land for eternity. I like this card. 3 mana. It's Ponza. It's land steal. It's everything. You've commandeered this land. Perfect suggestion. Thank God. Okay, Evan with Mob Rule. And also, yes, I would say that card a danger. Okay, Mob Rule, 6 mana sorcery. Choose one. Gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until end of turn. It is 6 mana though. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. So you're gonna have haste for forever. And then gain control of all creatures with power 3 or less until end of turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. That's wild. 6 mana, just steal everything. This would go from a 50-cent card to a $50 card in no time flat. Next up. So actually that's a really good example. Little Dead Fly with Absorb Identity. I misspelled this horribly. Okay, 2 mana instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand. You may have shapeshifters you control become copies of that creature until end of turn. So basically, your shapeshifters are perpetually the creature that you bounced. Are you a shapeshifter player, are you? How many how many shapeshifter creatures can you have to really get good value out of this? I would say this is probably very fair. Maybe a little too fair. Does not break. I would say does not break. Sneak Attack from Evil Gibson. So we're just basically perpetually putting creatures in play with no downside. 4 mana enchantment. It's sort of like Elvish Piper, right? For a red, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice the creature at the... Sorry, don't sacrifice. Sacrifice nothing. That's it. You just put a creature on the battlefield. It gains haste. Gets in the red zone. Oh, by the way, I might have another one with another red mana. And another red mana. Just all get in there. Who needs to pay 15 mana? Yeah, this card absolutely is broken. What is the difference between this turn and until end of turn? Because at end of turn is a trigger. That's the point. The whole deal of until end of turn is like once you reach the beginning of the end step, there is a trigger that is going to snap. And the whole point of the show today is we're going to ignore that trigger. In this case with sneak attack, that creature was supposed to be sacrificed until at end of turn. But now we're not sacrificing. We just keep it perpetually and for forever. That's the whole idea. Dr. Nemo with Vadi. Dal. This is a 4-mana 3/3 human warrior. Tap until end of turn. Target creature has base power, toughness 1 or 1 toughness 1/1. So we can only change one or the other. That will definitely work, and it'd be very frustrating to keep track of because usually these things you can ignore them at end of turn, but now you have to keep track. We got Calensis with Lathless Dragon Queen. This is a 6-mana 6/6 dragon. Flying. Whenever another non-token dragon you control enters, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. And for 2 mana, dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Well, I'm sorry. We're going to get them for forever. You don't even need infinite... Well, they would still help to have infinite mana. You're going to have to keep track of it with like a piece of paper or something. Next up. We've got... Okay, Kano wants some redemption. I think everyone needs some redemption here today. Abience. Or is it Abience? I don't know how to pronounce this. 2-mana instant. Until end of turn, target player cannot play instants, interrupts, sorceries, or activated abilities requiring an activation cost. No! Oh my god! So what can they do? They can't play instants or sorceries. They can't play activated abilities but they can play creatures. Okay, we can play creatures. We can play artifacts, but they can't have an activated ability. So that basically shuts off most of the artifacts, or almost all of them. We can play planeswalkers. And on top of that, you draw a card off of this. I would say it danger. This card at danger in this format. Okay, next up. Oh, we have a lot of super chats coming in. We'll get one from Banovsky. Thanks so much, Banovsky. Meant staying power enables this show. Oh, there we go. That's right. Now, yeah, you put the super chat in. Okay, we have 3 mana enchantment. Until end of turn and this turn effects don't end. You're right. That's exactly how this works. So it wasn't really even a recommendation. Oh, I see. You were just suggesting this. This is the theme of the show. Okay, we're gonna donate that one then. We'll donate it to Excited Raichu, Feather the Redeemer. Sorry, the Redeemed becomes worse. Oh, really? So something gets downgraded? This is a 3-mana 3/4 angel flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. That's right. This one gets... It's not good. So actually, some cards get worse. A lot worse, in fact. You'll just... basically, a lot of the flicker effects end up becoming garbage. The flicker effects are doomed. Or actually, they could be better. Some flicker effects, you'll basically just exile creatures. They're never coming back. Me and Brule with Critterhoof. Critterhoof Daddy! It is an 8-mana 5/5 haste. Enters the battlefield. Creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. Oh, and they get trample. Let's not forget about the trample. The trample is super important. Getting with a super chat. The Acacian Skirmishers. It could be fun. It could be problematic. What is this? Okay, it's got first strike and banding. It's a 4-mana 1/1. Whenever this creature attacks, all creatures banded with it gain first strike for forever. You know what? I'm not particularly impressed. I'm not particularly. That's not the right word. I'm honestly not very impressed. Basically, giving a bunch of creatures first strike. It's a weird lord. It's sort of a weird lord effect for the first strike. Okay. Well, we did Final Fortune. Sorry about that. Goryo's Vengeance. Okay, with 2 mana instant. Return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste. That'll work out pretty well. But it's gotta be honestly, it's like a bad reanimate spell. Because it's still, like, pretty limited. But you get the haste. I guess, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It's sort of now puts it on par with the other reanimate cards, I suppose. Basis Fan Forever, thank you so much for your super chat. It's last chance count. Absolutely it counts. A red sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one, and that's it. That's all that happens. All these take an extra turn cards would just skyrocket in price. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I guess it just turns everything into Time Walk, which should skyrocket in price. Okay. Oh, you got one. Okay. I think we disqualified Angel's Grace. Because there is no until end of turn. It just says this turn. Oh boy, with Sabira, Tolzidi, Caravaner. Okay, we have a 3 mana 2/3 human shaman with haste. And for 1 mana, another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. And also for 2 mana, tap, discard your hand. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. You know what? I would love to give it that ability. It's basically giving sort of an Ophidian effect to creatures. You know, you attack, you deal damage, you cash in. It's almost like giving an aura to something. I mean, that's what it is. But except you can't destroy the aura. Trent Sims with Hold the Line. Hold the Line is a 3 mana instant blocking creature. It gets +7/+7. It get big. And it's going to get big for forever. Next we got Wikagan with Chromium the Mutable. What does that mean? Mutatable? I don't know what a mutable is. 7 mana, 7/7 Elder Dragon Flash. It can't be countered. Flying. Discard a card. Chromium becomes a human with base power and toughness 1/1, loses all abilities and gains hexproof. It can't be blocked this turn. You are going to perpetually shrink this thing. How is that a good thing? That is bad, I think. Unless you want to pay 7 mana and discard a card for a creature for a 1/1 effectively. It's never coming back. You're never coming back. It's basically, this is like the monkey paw from a genie. Yeah, you're going to be indestructible, but you're going to be a 1/1 for forever. Pedgeman with, you want High Tide? Oh, that's interesting. Do they want double blue mana for forever? Blue instant. Whenever a player... Oh, it helps your opponents, remember. Whenever a player taps an island for mana, that player adds an additional blue mana. Blue mana for everyone! Island players rejoice! Little MX Doom, thank you very much for your super chat. Why are you mentioning silence? I think we disqualified this thing, right? We disqualified. It doesn't have end of turn attached to it. It just says your opponents can't cast spells this turn. But it doesn't specifically have any end of turn trigger. So I'm going to consider this a fail. We're going to donate your super chat. So we have another person also trying to say silence. The card has to say until end of turn. I'm not going to accept anything else. Islarf can have it. Course of Recruiter. Everyone has a price. Okay, we have a 5 mana 4/3 Orc Pirate. Whenever the Course of Recruiter or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature, untap that creature until and then it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. You're going to be a pirate now. It'd be a bad, honestly, it'd be a bad recruiter if they recruit you and then you go back. Like, how would that work out? No, you're a terror. You are now part of the pirate party, the party of pirates. Jump on board. Okay, we have, interesting. Underworld Breach. I'm going to just blindly guess it danger. This would be 2 mana enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard. And then that's it. It just stays in play for forever. How complete bonkers would that be? Be completely nuts. Pacers fan forever. Thank you very much for the super chat. We're going to look at... Oh, the Defector Might? How would this work? Oh, because it gives protection from colors? Okay, well, the white 1/1 with Toxic 1, it can't block. So for a Phyrexian tap, choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color, and it can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Interesting. So it just gains Hexproof from... does it mean... No, it's just Hexproof. No, and protection from the color. From that color into... Has Hexproof... Gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof. Oh, no, it Hexproof from that color. That's all. Still a very strong card. Perpetual Hexproof. You hate Hexproof? This is a Hexproof maker. Perpetually. Perpetual Hexproof. Bulky. With Lumbering Laundry. Surely better without end of turn. Probably. 5 mana, 4/5. Pay 2 until end of turn. You may look at face-down creatures you don't control anytime. Beautiful. Disguise... where's the end of turn effect? You may cast this card face down. There is no end of turn effect. Disqualified. Telling you, it has to say end of turn. If it doesn't say end of turn, you probably don't understand the show to the degree that I want it to be. Toilet Duck with Felia Whisper. Oh, sorry, Viper Whisperer. Funny story, without until end of turn, the ability will stack itself on your next turn. Interesting. So for a 2 mana, look at that art! It's gorgeous. It's a 2 mana 1/3. We have the wife who has been spotted. It has Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, you get a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch. And for 5 mana, whenever one or more Gorgons and or snakes you control deal combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. So they're going to lose half their life. So yeah, it is going to stack. So they have the ability, and then I guess they have the ability is going to happen again. So what happens first? So for the first attack, you take someone from like 40 to 20. Then the next attack, they go from 10 to 5 immediately. And then they go from like, I don't know, 3 to 2 to 1. Oh, it's crazy. It's absolute crazy nonsense. Next up, we got Bonovsky with the Necropotence. I don't know if this is gonna change anything. And I hate this art. I like this one. It says triple mana, skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, remove that card in your graveyard from the game. Pay 1, remove the top card of your library from the game face down. Put that card into your hand at the end of your turn. Does it say until end of turn? Is that card at the beginning of your next end step? So you're never gonna get the card. This is terrible. Literally is worthless. Just pay life and lose your library. I mean, I guess you could exile your library if that's what you want to do. Just pay life to get rid of cards, but like they never go back into your hand. Just never get there. Yeah, it was. Put that card into your hand at the end of your turn. Like, so I think it's oh, what if we erased it? Put that card into your face down. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we got to look at it the other way. If we erased end of turn, it's just put that card into your hand. Okay, doing it. This actually goes the other way around. I think this is now, it's just Yawgmoth's bargain. I think I looked at it the wrong way. So I'm sort of imagining if we cross this out with a Sharpie, what does it read? Yeah, it's just put the card into your hand. We put it face down, but then we got it again anyway. Cost will skyrocket down to earth. Next up. Okay, Maddie, Yawgmoth's Will. Already broken as it is. 3 mana sorcery. You may play cards from your graveyard. If a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card instead. Yeah, you'll just get it for forever. Absolutely. Keep playing cards from your graveyard. The card said so. You have an emblem that says so, effectively. Pacers fan forever with the Oslet Pride. How would that change things? Okay, the kitty that makes tokens. White 1/1 first strike lifelink with a send. If you have 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing. At the beginning of your... So we don't... Okay, forget that. If you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then if you have the city's blessing, for each token you control that enter the battlefield this turn, create a token that's a copy of it. Interesting. So if there's like any ETB to gain life, you lock the game. Do you have a choice? If you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 white creature token. I think you would lock the game. This is not a very good card. So you would get the 1/1. Oh no, but the one sorry. If the 1/1 has to trigger life gain somehow. So if there is like a creature enters the battlefield, gain life thing, you would lock up the game. So you have to be very careful with this card. Basically, you gain life, you get token. Next up, let's go with Arian with Insurrection. It would change Oscillate Pride in a very interesting way. Oh, we're gonna steal all your creatures! For 8 mana, untap all creatures and gain control of them. They gain haste until end of turn. Your creatures are my creatures now. Okay, next up, let's take a look at John. John Super Chat. Final Fortune. Oh, we did that one. Did we do that one? I'm pretty sure I did that one. Yeah, I did that one. Sorry about that. It was the first card of the show, John. There was no way that you knew. John, I'll keep an eye out for you. Let's get David, Ideas Unbound. Oh, is this just like 2 mana, draw 3? 2 mana, draw 3 cards. That's it. 2 mana, draw 3 cards. Honestly, maybe not the most broken card in the world. There's so many cards nowadays that are very close to 2 mana, draw 3 cards. Christopher B with Haunted One. This is a 3 mana legendary enchantment. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, it and other creatures you control that share a creature type with it each get +2/+0 and gain Undying. Is that it? Okay, that's it. You know what? Honestly, I don't think it's broken. Not the most broken thing I've ever seen. Pacers, Moonshaker Cavalry. This is the white Critter Hoof. 8 mana for the 6/6 flying Spirit Knight. And when enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X until end of turn. Sorry, they gain +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. And they're gonna be big. Nadim, hey Nikachu, fan favorite as always, Kiki Jiki. Kiki Jiki. Okay, so what? We're gonna copy non-legendary creatures. They gain haste, and then we get to keep them. So, but it's like, you know what? Honestly, I don't know if this card gets that much more powerful. Like, it definitely gets better, but like instead of infinite, you have a lot of infinite combos with this card, right? It's like very often when you're going off, you're just gonna go off anyway. Flare of Fortitude from Blade. Flare of Fortitude. This is a 4 mana instant. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. So your life total can't change. Oh my god. And permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. I think we have a pretty good candidate for one of the most broken cards. I mean, you can still lose the game though, right? Your life total can't change. That's wild. The life total is not going to change around here. Next super chat from Jess. The Act of Treason. But you only get to steal 1 creature with Act of Treason. I think that's the problem. You have a 3 mana sorcery. You get control of 1 creature until end of turn. Sorry, you gain control of 1 creature. You untap it, and it gains haste. For forever, by the way. The foreverness. Julian, Unnatural Growth. This is 5 mana enchantment. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. They be big. at the beginning of each combat. And it's gonna, is this gonna stack like every single turn? I think for the sake of the show, we have to assume that there's like no cleanup step for the sake of the show for some of these things. Because even though it says until end of turn, does it double each creature you control? So when you play with a card, this card, does it actually shrink the creature at end of turn? Or at the cleanup step? The beginning of each combat, you double the creature's power and toughness. What, they shrink at end of turn? I've never played with a card, so I actually don't know what these creatures look like at the end of a turn. Little MX Doom, thank you so much for your super chat. Single combat. Single combat is a 5-mana sorcery. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control. Sack the rest! And then players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells. Oh my god. It's basically instant death. Instant death. Can't cast creatures or planeswalker spells, but for the rest of the game? I think that's cruel and unusual. Angel's Grace doesn't count because it doesn't say until end of turn on it. Must say until end of turn. This turn don't count. And we have Martino with Dawn's Truce. Okay, hold on. Unnatural Growth is a simple buff that lasts until end of turn and triggers on each combat start, so you have multiple combats. Ah, interesting. Dawn's Truce is a 2-mana instant. You can gift a card. Promise an opponent a gift. I love gifts. And they draw a card as a gift. You and permanents you control gain Hexproof. And then if the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain Indestructible. Well, wasn't that nice? This would instantly be like a $100 card if it was just permanent. Do you know what would be interesting? In this world, cards that remove Indestructible and Hexproof would like skyrocket. All of them. Because everyone's just battling everyone else. I don't think Angel's Grace says until end of turn. So many people have mentioned it. We looked at this, right? Oh, it does say until end of turn. I want to give the credit back. Who said until end of turn? So sorry. Who said Angel's Grace? I want to give better credit. Who's the other person? I've seen so many Angel's Graces. Damn it! I don't know where the Angel's Grace came from. I'm so sorry. I like automatically disqualified you for. You know what? The recording will prove otherwise. Okay, we have a white instant split second. You can't lose the game this turn, and your opponents can't win the game this turn. And then damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. That absolutely does work. I think I just assumed the first part was the important part, but the second part was the most important. You passed the Skrelv, bro. It said it this turn. Okay. Furious Gamer with Insurrection. Oh, we looked at that one. Sorry about that. Next super chat. We have some donation. We love the donations, don't we, people? No card yet. Count on Luck. Isn't this turn and end of turn basically the same? Well, not for this show. And then if Skrelv counts, then all this turn counts. I might have misread the Skrelv, because the Skrelv, if it just said this turn, then it doesn't count. But okay, we're gonna look at Count on Luck. No, it's all good. You can keep an eye on me. Make sure my rules are being followed properly. Triple red enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. No, we're not counting those. I might have screwed up once. But it has to say until end of turn. It has to say end of turn. If it doesn't say end of turn, then it's not going to count. So we're going to donate that one. We'll donate. Okay, we can donate 3 from Steve Cooper. Okay, exponential growth. Okay, it's a green XX sorcery. Double target creature's power X times. We always love a creature getting too big. Okay, second super chat going to go to a Blackbird, Urbresk's Forge. Robust Forge, the 3-mana artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on it. Then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on Robust Forge. And that's it. You just get to keep it. You love those tokens? I don't know if it would break it, though. Sacrifice the token at the beginning of the next end step. Is this so bad? X is the number of oil counters on Urbrask's Forge. I feel like keeping it is just making it fine. Oh, I see. So as we keep making oil, honestly, I think we're just I think we're making this card playable instead of being unplayable. Okay, next up. Okay, so we're gonna look at more cards that are broken or changed without the end of turn. We gotta thank our sponsors today. FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite place to buy my Magic the Gathering cards. You know what else you can buy? You can get 15% off. Is this still the secret lair deal? Where's the deal? What's the deal of the week this week? What happened? Let's get back. Where's the deal of the week? I want to see a deal of the week. I gotta go to the weekly deal. Oh, okay, it's still 15% off all secret layers, singles, and set boxes. Don't worry, you can also get Ether Drift and Innistrad Remastered. But what if 15% off secret layers isn't good enough for you? Well, I got some good news for you. You can even use coupon code Nikachu to get an additional 5% off all your purchases when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards on Magic Online, the digital format that lets you play Modern, Pioneer, Pauper, Standard, Legacy, Vintage, Commander, one-on-one Commander. They've got you covered. And because you can play all those formats when you're renting the cards with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 40% cash back on your 3rd month subscription using coupon code Nikachu_BKS. And back to cards without end of turn attached to it. Okay, we have one more donation from Steve Cooper. Forge does have at end of turn sacrifice the token, old friend bear. Yeah, sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. But what if you just get to keep the creature, who cares? That's what I'm saying. I think we're making the card playable by keeping the creature. Okay, who else needs a card here? Belle loves cards. Gideon of the Trials. So what, you want to keep the Gideon? It's a 3-mana, 3 loyalty Gideon. I believe the end of turn effect is so Gideon for 0, Gideon becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible that's still a planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. So basically this turn still get preventing damage, but indestructible 4/4 forever. Not bad. Is there another one? You get an emblem with, as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game. No, that doesn't change anything. This is better. You have a perpetual Planeswalker. I just go play 3 mana, 0, sit on blocking duty. It's basically a 4/4 indestructible. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Duke Firebird, abnormal endurance. It's going to be even more abnormal without the end of turn effect. 2 mana instant. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains whenever this creature dies. Return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Honestly, I don't know if this is all that amazing. Because when the creature dies, it's going to lose the effect once it hits the graveyard. So I mean, it will have Undying perpetually, but then you get it back, and well, that's about it. Kagan with Adriana's Valor. It's a conspiracy. Is it? This is a hidden agenda. Whenever a creature you control with the chosen name attacks, you can pay a white. If you do, that creature gains indestructible. Whenever a creature you control with the chosen name. So you have in a hidden agenda. Start the game with this conspiracy face down in the command zone. Secretly named a card. So this. Well, is this really going to be that good? This is for draft decks. And on top of that, so this is for draft decks, and you have to be lucky to draw the card, and it's still costing you a card. Start the game with conspiracy face down, or is it? No. Actually, I think this is more of like a command zone type of card. I don't remember how these cards work, to be honest. Okay, Kana with piracy. You want to see the Oracle text? What's so important about the Oracle text? Okay, for 2 mana, you may tap lands you don't control for mana. Oh my god. Spend this mana only to cast spells. That is going to cause absolute total chaos. You get to tap your lands for mana. Basically, okay, everyone has to play at their upkeep. They have to play at their upkeep because they're not going to get their lands during their other turns. This actually would be completely busted. Might even be... Oh, it says, no, it says that on the card, but we very specifically are looking at the Oracle text, because the Oracle text is until end of turn. Specifically mentioned it. Okay, Damon with Chandra Flame Shaper. Chandra Flame away. Okay, I found you. 7 mana for a 6 loyalty Chandra. Add triple red. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Choose one. You can play it this turn. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has haste! And that's it! And yeah, so you get to make tokens. Copy of target creature you control. You can perpetually copy your creatures for, well, I wouldn't say for forever, for as many turns that you have. You could even play, what's it called? Final Fortune to get another turn. Weird format. Okay, Lil MX Doom with the chamber manipulation. Chamber of manipulation. 4 mana enchant land. Enchant land has tap, discard a card from your hand, gain control of target creature. I love it. Michael Ing, word of command. You're making me read this thing. Black instant. Look at target opponent's hand and choose a card from it. You control that player until word of command finishes resolving. The player plays that card to Fable. While doing so, the player can activate mana abilities only if they're from lands they control and only if the mana ability blah blah blah. Does it say until end of turn? He or she controls. It doesn't even say until end of turn. This is disqualified. I was like, I'm not reading all this if it doesn't say until end of turn. Ooh, that's a cute card. Martino with Polymorph Fist's Jest. Everyone gonna become frog. Okay, we have a 3 mana instant. Each creature target player controls loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. They're shrunken for forever. They're looking for their prince to kiss them. Or I guess maybe even their princess. Gambler, Judah. Templar of Balance. Remember, it has to say until end of turn. Judah, Tempt. Did I read this right? Judah. I have Judah. No, it doesn't know it. Guess it's not Judah. Okay, we'll move on to a super chat from Evan. Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge is a 3 mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X. Ideally, they usually are just dead after that, you know? Usually just dead. Next up, the Poke Dad with Junkyo Bell. Junkyo Bell. It's a 4 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may have target creature you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. And then if you do no, we're not sacking anything. So we're just gonna have a nice, delicious, big creature for the most part. Next up, Lil MX Doom. Everybody Lives locks the game. Does it? Everybody Lives. 2 mana instant. All creatures gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Players can't gain hexproof. Sorry. All creatures gain hexproof and indestructible. Players gain hexproof. Players can't lose life this turn, and players can't lose the game or win the game this turn. No, remember, this turn is still gonna be fine. All of this turn effects are fine. It's the end of turn effects that are lost. So what it means is all creatures gain hexproof and indestructible, and players gain hexproof, and then that's it. But you can still attack them. That will it'll still work. Who else? Who has no card yet? You gotta let me know who doesn't have a card. Scott the Dark Knight. Dihada. Binder of Wills. 4-mana legendary Dihada. Up to 1 target legendary creature gains Vigilance, Lifelink, and Indestructible. And any other end of turn abilities? Gain control of all non-land permanents. All of them. Untap them. They gain haste. So you basically steal all and gain control of all non-lands. So we're just taking away we're taking the artifacts. We're taking the enchantments. We're taking the planeswalkers. Dihado has a way with people. See, that is a recruiter of all recruiters. Corbin X, Slick Shot, Show Off. Just gonna get bigger, making standard even more red dominated. Yeah, if you didn't die to the Slick Shot Show Off in one turn, you'll die next turn. 2 mana 1/2 flying haste, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+0 for forever. Lil MX Doom with Turn to Frog. I'm using the Mario sound for the water world, you know, where you can turn to a frog. 2 mana instant until target creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. This seems so much worse than the that Super Frogify where we made everything a player had a 1/1. Seems so much better. Furious Game or Triumph. Did we do this one? Of the Hordes? I feel like we did this one. Maybe not. Okay, 4 mana sorcery until creatures you control. See, I have to catch myself. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and infect. Oh my goodness. Just gonna gain infect for forever. So basically, every deck can be an infect deck. Does anyone like the sound of that, everyone? Anyone like that? Every green deck can become an infect deck and just shoot you in one shot. Luca! No, I can't remember if we did that one. I can't remember if I did that one or I disqualified that one. Did we do this one or disqualify it? No, we did this one. Sorry about that. Okay, we have your name is hard to pronounce. Axe Silim. Doomwake Giant. Okay, we have 5 mana 4/6 Giant. Constellation. Whenever Doomwake Giant or another enchantment enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control just get -1/-1. When those enchantments stack up, you better believe that's basically a slow toxic deluge. Next super chat from let's go one from Bell. Arcane Lighthouse. To stop all hexproof? Yeah, okay, so all these cards are giving hexproof and indestructible perpetually. Now we got Arcane Lighthouse. It's a land that's asked for a colorless, and then for pay 1 tap, creatures your opponents control lose hexproof and shroud, and they can't have hexproof or shroud. So does can't always beat can? I think that's right? If you can't have, you can't for forever. So that's an interesting. So they can never get it for as long as that thing is always there. Can't always wins. Interesting. Dinglebag. Heroic Intervention. So all of a sudden these indestructible cards, they're not broken anymore because like the Lighthouse, that's the recipe. That's the answer. 2 mana instant. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Not that strong in the Arcane Lighthouse metagame. Karam, thanks so much for your super chat. Akroma's Blessing. It's a 3-mana instant. Choose a color. Creatures you control gain protection from the chosen color. Also has cycling. I wonder what's going to work out better, protection or indestructible in this world. Josh with Languish. All creatures get -4/-4, and you're going to enjoy it. We got Blade here with Xanathar Guild Kingpin. Anyone still who has no card yet? We have 6 mana, 5/6 Beholder. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. That player can't cast spells. You may look at the top card of their library anytime. You may play the top card of their library. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast the spell. Oh my god. They can't cast spells! You will be the instant target for forever. I mean, they got to kill you or they're just never going to get a turn. Indiana Jones with... we did High Tide. Sorry about that. Who also has nothing yet? Don't know if David has one. Oboro Envy. A lot of people envy my Oboro. But I'm asking for a weird meta reason. I can't always beat bets on it. Envoy. Okay, let's look at a 4-mana 1/3 Moonfolk Wizard with flying. Pay 2. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. Target creature gets -X/-0. Does it say until end of turn? Oh, the errata says until end of turn. It's interesting they don't have this. It gets -X/-. It's funny. This card literally is describing it the way that we want to understand the show. So it gets -X/-0 where X is in a number of cards in your hand. That's funny. But I promise the errata actually says until end of turn. See? Until end of turn. I'm not being BS'd here. Next, let's... Oh, we better get a super chat here from Kagan. Kind Slaver for a funny one. This has to be an uncard. 5-mana legendary artifact, pay 5 taps, sacrifice the Kind Slaver. A person outside the game controls target player during that player's next turn. Neither player may advise that person. Interesting. They're not allowed to know any. Well, it doesn't change the card very much. So they just can't. When sacrifice, a person outside the game controls target player during that player's next turn. It honestly doesn't change very much. I would say this is sort of a fail. Because they just can't advise them for the entire game, but they're only going to control them for 1 turn. This is not a perpetual thing. Beefy with the Island of Whack Whack. We have a land tap. The power of target creature with flying becomes 0. You are nothing from here on out. Next up. I guess we're now at the 2. You can't give that person advice ever again. Oh, wow. Wow. Were you going to apply that to outside the game when the game is done? Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't give them advice on anything. Even on car insurance. I guess we're down to no 2 cards yet. Jumbo. Why would this matter? This is like the new meme card. 7-mana 1/7 with 10,000 needles. Whenever this creature attacks, it's just gonna get +9,999. Okay, Steve Cooper didn't even get a first card. Shadow Spear. You self-eliminated yourself. 1-mana legendary equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and lifelink. Pay 1. Permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible for forever. And equip for 2. This card will be very meta in this format. Little MX Doom, thank you very much for your super chat. Pale Moon. So they can't tap from non-basic lands or something? Something to do with non-basic lands. 2-mana instant. If a player taps a non-basic land for mana, it produces colorless mana instead of its normal mana type. These things just become emblems. They're just crazy emblems. Julio. Satya. Etherflux Genius. 4 mana, 3/5 human artificer with haste and menace. Whenever the genius attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to one other target non-token creature you control. You're going to get 2 energy, and that nothing happens at the end step. Sack that token unless you pay an amount of... Okay, no, nothing happens. So you have to... When attacks, create a tap... Oh, so we're just making tokens and keeping them. That's all. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Evil Gibson. I saw... Oh, maybe I disqualified one of your cards. Flame, Shadow, Conjuring. We have a 4-mana enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay a red. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature. It gains haste, and that's it. You get to keep another token keeper. And it looks like MTG Gaming Bob wants to overrun the board for forever. Make the creatures big and strong. 5 mana. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample in perpetuity. Next. Martino with sudden spoiling. I guess we're up to no 2 card yet, people. Okay, 3 mana instant. Split second. Creatures target player controls lose all abilities and have base powered 0/2. It's just like Turn to Frog. It's just gonna lose all their abilities for forever. I didn't know this existed. This is very blue feeling. This is incredibly blue feeling. Very, very strong. Blacklands Duo with the Sin triplets. How is this gonna work? And you say it's gonna danger. Okay, it's a 5 mana 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't cast spells or activate abilities and plays with their hand revealed. No, that doesn't count. Remember, has to say until end of turn. This turn effects don't change. Okay, again with Sidar Kondo. You'll need to type Vanguard. Oh, is there another one? Okay, T Vanguard Sidar Kondo. You're right. Haven't had to do one of these fake cards on a show before. Pay 3, target creature gets +3/+3. I don't even know why you'd want to do this. No, I don't. I'm just assuming this is not broken. Or is it? I assume this is like some sort of like commander effect on the battlefield perpetually. Next. Black. Oh no, we did. I got ya. I got you and then I didn't get ya. I got you and then I disqualified ya. Basically. Torladoc with Terra. Herald of Hope. Not a danger at all, but still mildly hilarious. The flying ability just lasts for forever. 3 mana for a 3/3 human wizard warrior with trance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards, gains flying just gains flying. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2. And when you do, return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Torladoc just wants a perpetual flyer. That's all. Just very simple. Nothing wrong with that. Geist. Oh, that's interesting. Geist of Saint Traft. If anything, we need this ability. We need the end of turn removed. Oh, it doesn't change. This is end of combat. This is end of combat. Doesn't count. See, end of combat. It would actually change nothing about this card. They lose the token at end of combat, not end of turn. We did Abience. Pretty sure you were there, Dinglebag. Nadim, Warrior's Oath. Warrior's Oath. 2 mana sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one at the beginning of that. And then that's it. You just take another extra turn after this one. So many of these cards. Too many. We did High Tide. Everyone's suggesting cards we've done. We've got Dr. Nemo. Savage Ventmaw. It is a 6 mana dragon. It's a 4/4 flying. When this creature attacks, add 6 mana. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Love it! We're just not going to lose the mana. We get to keep it for forever. It may not actually be broken. There's so many cards that are like that where you generate mana, you just get to keep it through like turns and turns and turns. Next. Okay, Bojack Yellow, trying to get on this show. What happens here with Time Stop? We're gonna find out. So 6 mana, end of the turn. Well, what does it say? All spells and including damage heals and this turn and end of turn effects end. This card's technically already ending the end of turn, so it doesn't really count. We did Yawgmoth's Will Craig. Don't think we did Mirror. I don't know if we did Mirror Entity. Did we do Mirror Entity? Oh, we didn't do Mirror Entity. 3 mana 1/1 Shapeshifter. Pay X until end of pay X. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. You know what's a problem though? You can't stack this. You can't be like, okay, I'm gonna make my creatures a 10/10 because you're just changing the base power and toughness. It's not actually making them grow. I mean, it's certainly fine to buff up your creatures and then like just go hands off, don't have to deal with it again. But you can't. This is actually a card that doesn't stack very well. Oh boy, strength testing hammer. Slam that hammer. 1 mana equipment. Whenever an equipped creature attacks, roll a 6-sided die. That creature gets +X+0, where X is the result. Then if it had the greatest power or is tied for the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, we get to draw a card. Is this that strong? Whenever it attacks, roll a 6-sided die. Maybe it is. Just for 1 mana, keep growing your damn creature. Ragavan. Okay, whenever Ragavan deals combat damage to a player, you get a treasure token. You exile the top card of that player's library. And you can cast that card for forever. Just keep accumulating cards from your opponent. It would, for some reason, I feel like it doesn't change this card very much. It's already a very, very strong card as it is. Arian with Stone Giant. 4 mana, 3/4 giant. Tap, target creature you control with toughness less than Stone Giant's power gains flying. Destroy that creature at the beginning. Oh no, you don't destroy the creature at all. So target creature you control with toughness less than Stone Giant's power just gains flying. That's it. Oh, isn't that funny? Very, 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 very funny, aren't you? Oh, it changes how dash works on Ragavan too. Yeah, it won't get bounced at end of turn either. So you can dash in and play and just keep it there. Can you? You may cast the spell for its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste and return it to the battlefield. Can you dash? Hold on. You may cast the spell for its dash cost. If you do, gains haste. I just can't remember if you can dash. I don't think you can dash it. No. Oh yeah, you can't dash at instant speed because it's not an instant in the first place. Eric. Balmore. Battle Mage Captain. A 2 mana 1/3 Bird Wizard. Flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control just get +1/+0. Buff that team. You got a card. Do you know what NCY means? Means no card yet. Sorcerer. Or I don't know. Maybe I disqualified you. I don't remember. Sorceress Queen. 3 mana 1/1. Tap. Target creature other than Sorceress Queen is a 0/2. Is that it? Power and toughness, base power and toughness is 0/2. That's it. That's not bad. It's almost like it's like Royal Assassin power, except the creature doesn't need to be tapped to target it. If you had flash, you could dash, right? I don't know. I'm assuming yes. I just don't know. I don't know how many dash creatures have flash. Like I guess. Damon Sephiroth planet. Really? One Sephiroth planet. Sephiroth's Planet's Heir. This is I don't even know what this card is yet. Spoiler alert. 6 mana, 4/4 human avatar soldier with vigilance. When Sephiroth enters, creatures your opponents control just get -2/-2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Sephiroth. And Sephiroth's paying really close attention to you. We did Angel's Grace 1,000,000 times. There's always one of those cards, you know? There's always one. Corbinek, we did sneak attack. MTG Gaming Bob with Adelize. The Cinder Wind. 3 mana 2/2 with flying and haste, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, wizards you control get +1/+1. Almost for forever. You like God's Willing, huh? White. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice. And you also get to scry 1. Creature will be indestructible. Sort of. Toilet Duck with Massacre Girl. Funny story, if the -1/-1s just keep piling up for forever, even if Massacre Girl leaves the battlefield, I think it would stop the... Or actually, that's a good question. Does it work like that? So, 5 mana, 4/4, Menace. When it enters, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Sorry, gets -1/-1. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1. I don't think it works like that. I think it's just one instance of this, and like, because I think if you play Massacre Girl and you play other creatures afterwards, they're just fresh. They're not there at the moment. They're not there the moment they get -1/-1. But if you kill it, then it would trigger it again, right? It would. So basically, I think what Massacre Girl does is that if a creature ever dies, it keeps stacking the -1/-1 wipe thing, like, perpetually. So stuff has to, like, never die, or the whole board gets wiped constantly. It's an interesting thought experiment. How to if we played with Massacre Girl like that. It's almost like it's like an emblem almost. Dr. Nemo, thank you so much for your super chat. Pestilence. The epitome of It Danger. Really? We saw a lot of It Danger cards today. Strong statement, Dr. Nemo. 4 mana enchantment. At the end, sorry, if there are no creatures in play, sacrifice Pestilence. I think it gets weaker, right? This technically gets weaker. Because you don't have to wait until end of turn anymore. It's just, if there are no creatures in play, then it triggers. And for a black, it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. It technically gets worse. So some cards get worse if you remove the... Maybe we should do the opposite one day. Which cards get worse without the end of turn effect? Okay, we're gonna end the show off with Old Friend Bear with Llanowar Elves. Oh, Llanowar Elves, I don't does that even do it? Does Llanowar Elves even have a end of turn effect? I think it's just pay a green. You just add a green, so that doesn't even work. Okay, we gotta end the show on somebody here. Martina wants Vraska. Scheming Gorgon. 6 mana, 5 loyalty. The creatures will get +1/+0 for forever. We can also destroy creatures. And the -10, creatures you control gain death touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, they lose the game, which means you win the game. Okay, sweet. Hope you liked today's show. It was creative, wasn't it? Wasn't it fun? And we do these shows all the time at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Of course, we have to thank the people who support the show with money. People like the people on Patreon, the members on YouTube, and of course the super chatters who super chat to be part of the show, and also super chat so other people are part of the show. And of course, thank you so much, Coffee Crew, the Zyber Nation for being here today. People like Christopher B, Old Friend Bear, Martino, Dr. Nemo, Little Dead Fly, Julio Bell, Eric, Toads, Old Boy, David Sampson. I don't know, maybe you're a doctor, I don't know. I got all of you, because you are the ones that make the show what it is every day. So as usual, my crew, keep bringing them coffees. We'll keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.